So tonight we will be learning the teachings of Tzadok, Parshat Lecha, and the Parshat Lecha. It's like the beginning of the Jewish people, because like Avraham is the beginning of the Jewish people, and it really sets the tone for what it means to be a Jew. So it's all about Lecha. It's all about walking, right? So Tzadok really puts the spotlight on the concept of really like moving at an inner level on to like what it means to be a Jew. And he starts with an interesting midrash that the midrash at the beginning of the parsha. So it talks about a certain halacha. It's a Gemara in Brachas that wants to know that when you're saying Shema, so are you allowed to say Shema while you're walking? Okay, this is something while you're walking. Right? So this is something that I have this question very often, because like most of the time, like when it's time to say Shema, I'm like taking my kids to school or going to shul or something like that, and so are you allowed to say Shema as you're walking, or do you have to stop and concentrate? So the Gemara says that it depends what part. That for the beginning part, for the pasuk of Shema and Baruch Shem, which is called Kabbalat al Malchut Shemayim, to accepting upon yourself the kingship of Hashem. So for that you have to stay put, and you have to concentrate, and you have to like have as much concentration as you can, and then from V'ahavta. So then if you want to continue, then you're allowed to go. Okay. So at first glance it seems like it's simply a practical thing that when you're walking, so you're not 100% present, because you have to pay attention to if some car is walking into you, if you're going to fall into a pit, something like that. And so because you have to concentrate on what's going around you, so then naturally you won't be able to have as much concentration on what you're saying. And so on a simple level, it simply means that in the first pasuk, so there's more of a requirement of kavanah. And so that's why like you need to have total concentration. That's why you have to stop. And for V'ahavta, so it's not so necessary to have this higher level of concentration. But Tzadok says that according to Chassidus, so it's not just a practical question of when are you having a total concentration, when you're not having concentration, that it's really two different states of mind. That there's one state of mind called staying put, and there's one state of mind called walking further, walking ahead. And this is actually this is actually expressed in these two parts of Shema. That Shema is talking about one state of mind that you need to stay put, and V'ahavta is talking about another state of mind in which you have to keep on moving. Okay, and so what's the difference? What's the difference between Shema and V'ahavta? So he says that what are we supposed to be thinking when we're saying Shema every day? So we're saying Hashem Echad, saying that Hashem is one, and Chazal call this Kabbalas al Malchut Shemayim, that we're accepting upon ourselves the kingship of Hashem. So when we say that Hashem is one, so what does this mean? So everybody knows this is from the Chaim Volozhin, from the Arizal, it's from the Parshat. Everybody knows that when it says Hashem Echad, it doesn't just mean there's one God, not two gods. Mm-hmm. It means that Ein Od Milvado, that there is nothing else. The Hashem is everything. That there is nothing besides Hashem, and so like this has many ramifications in life. For example, that if there is nothing besides Hashem, so then in every element of my life I can find Hashem. I can never, like Rabbi Nachman says, that even if you go to the furthest place, that even if you're in the middle of doing the horrible sin, but Hashem is there too, so you can find Hashem even there. There's no way to escape God. So everything is not only that, but in every single place, in every single situation. So there's a way to connect with God. Okay? And there's something that I'm being called upon to reveal the God in this. I was just teaching one of the schools the story of the lost princess, and this is mamish the thing that Hashem hides the Shekhinah. Hashem hides His presence in the world, and it's our job to reveal it. Like there's these pockets of spirituality hiding in the world, and it's our job to find them and reveal them. Okay, so this is really the Ein Od Milvado means that really everything is Hashem. So we wake up in the morning in a state of mind that I exist, and so part of Shema is that to come to a state of non-existence, because really I'm not really real. I'm really just a figment of Hashem's imagination. That's really what it means in Od Milvado. And that's why, what do we do when we say Shema? close our eyes, cover our eyes, because like there is nothing else. And there's another kavanah of Shema, and that is that it says based on the Gemara, it says that when the Romans killed Rabbi Akiva, so as they were torturing him and like combing his body with metal, and so he was it says that he was saying Shema. It says that he was saying Shema, and so it says that his soul left as he said the word Echad. So we know from many sources, from many different places that this is like after 120, like when almost before 120, like when we're at 119 and 0.99. So then when we're dying, so what do? One of the things that we do when we die is to say Shema. Okay, it's like this is the way that the Jew goes is by saying Shema, and certainly that if you're being killed, so the thing to say Shema, the thing to think about is Shema, because what I'm realizing is that I'm giving up my existence to Hashem. I'm negating my whole existence to this higher existence of Hashem's presence. So this is why when I'm actually causing myself or embracing my non-existence, so the intention of my non-existence is Hashem Echad, because Hashem Echad really means Ein Od Milvado, there is nothing besides Him. Okay, so if Hashem is everything, so that means I'm not really me. I'm not really here. So that's why I'm contemplating on Hashem's permeating everything when I'm leaving this world. So one of the things that says actually a kavanah that we should be saying twice a day when we say Shema every day is that I'm willing to give up my life for Hashem, because if really Hashem is everything, so then when push comes to shove, if my being here is going to fly in the face of Hashem's glory, so then I'm going to step aside. Okay? I.e., if somebody's calling upon me to convert to Christianity, so like I'm going to say, shoot me. I'm not bowing down to your idols. I'm not bowing down to your cross. I'm not even going to pretend that like if my existence in this world is going to cause any kind of harm to the glory of God, so then I'm not going to be here. Okay, that's Ein Od Milvado. Okay, so that's the first Shema. That's the first pasuk of Shema. So we understand that if the whole essence of Hashem Echad, the whole essence of Shema is my non-existence, so it makes sense that I need to stay put. Okay, and this is really the understanding that there's this higher existence, this higher reality. So this is another way of saying Yirah, and this was the character trait of Yitzchak. Yitzchak's thing was Yirah, and that's why whenever we talk about Yitzchak, so how do we refer to the highlight of Yitzchak Avinu's life?
When he wrestled.
No, it's Yaakov. It's Yaakov. Oh, right. Yitzchak was a Kedah Yitzchak, the binding of Isaac. So why do we always call it? Why do we always call it the binding of Isaac? What's special about the Akedah? It's true. Like he didn't. We would have called it the shachting of Yitzchak, except they didn't actually shacht him, right? So it's true. Like the closest he got was that he was bound up. But I once heard a very beautiful thing that really the binding of Yitzchak that actually expresses his entire essence, because the state of mind of Yitzchak Avinu was that he is bound to the desire, to the will of God. Like the thing of Yira is that I refuse to do the smallest thing if it's not what Hashem wants. Okay, and that's really being expressed in the being tied up. Like this, his being tied up. That was really his state of mind. He was very intense. Okay, very. Yeah, the intense people among us that probably don't find their way to Nachlaot, they're more connected to Gevurah. They're more connected to Yira, and in the state of fear, in the state of awe, so we're a little bit frozen, okay? Because we're connecting to this reality that's so great that we're just there is no reaction, there is no response. There's nothing to say. There's nothing to go. We're just stuck. So this is the first pasuk, and then we come to V'ahavta. Okay, so V'ahavta, this is where we make a shift from Yira to Ava, from fear to love. And then the Midrash says, the Gemara says, that when it comes to V'ahavta, so then we're we're allowed and we're expected to keep on walking. Okay, so what does that mean? So Tzadok brings a Zohar that at the beginning of the Parshat, when it says Lech, so the Zohar says that it asks the question that when the way that the Torah commands Avraham is actually very strange, because it says Lech lecha me artzacha, that you should go from your land and from your birthplace, etc. And in Hebrew, so we usually speak about exiting and entering in two different ways. So the way when I'm walking from my birthplace, we don't call that vayelech, we call that vayetzeh. Mm-hmm. So it should have said tzei lecha me'artzecha me'laytecha me'beis avicha, and v'telech el ha'aretz asher, the coming is always the halicha. So what does it mean lech lecha me'artzecha? It doesn't seem to be grammatically the right thing to say. So the Zohar says that the reason why it says lech lecha is lech lecha legarmacha, that's kana darga dilach, that you're supposed to be walking in your steps. You're supposed to be fitting into a new state of being. You're supposed to be fixing yourself to become a new you, a new and improved you, and that's the only way that you're going to be able to come to the land that I want to show you. Okay, so really, when it says Lech Lecha, it's not enough to leave. That the only way that I can really leave is if I actually become something else. And that's going. Okay? In other words, like we say that you can take the guy out of New York, but you can't take New York out of the guy. So Lech Lecha means that when Hashem was telling Avraham so that you should leave or cast him, so he was saying that it's not enough to physically leave. If you're just going to physically leave, then you're still there. You're still one of those. And the only way to truly leave is to actually work on yourself and to actually have this inner growth, and that's your Lech Lecha. That's your going. So why is it that Hashem is commanding Avraham with this going? So he brings that the Torah talks about Avraham. Hashem calls Avraham Ohavi. That Avraham is always connected to love. Okay? Avraham is the forefather of love. Okay, as opposed to, like we said, Yitzchak represents fear and awe. Avraham is the forefather of love. And so when it comes to love, the definition of love is motion. Or in other words, like there's a quote that's going around that love is a verb, right? Meaning that it's not just something that you feel, it's not just something that exists. That if you love somebody, do something about it. Okay, so the definition of loving is to be in a state of doing, to be a state of changing, and that if I'm a person that loves, so then I'm constantly asking myself, what can I do for the person that I love? Okay, so meaning that if I'm in a relationship with somebody, I claim to love them, and like just what's the latest in your relationship? Well, we've been in the same situation for the past 10 years, so that really means that we don't love each other. Okay, that the definition of love is dynamics. Is having like constant change, and if I really care about somebody, so then it's not like the joke about the wife that like asked about, like, you never told me, you never say that you love me. So he says, well, listen, like when I married you, I told you I love you. If anything changes, I'll let you know. So like that's the definition of love is that like to show up and say, and like. I know that like 5 minutes ago I told you I love you, but like I just need to tell you again, because the love I feel for you today is so much greater than what I felt 5 minutes ago. So like now I really, really love you. And that's what love is. Love needs to be growing, and if it's not growing, if it's static, so it's actually not love. Okay, so this is this is something which is really a critical thing in life in general, because to be a human being, like one of the being able to love is one of the most fundamental, most basic tchunot, one of the most basic
Principles.
something like that. The basic things about what it means to be a person is the ability to love. And that's why there's an interesting thing. The word Adam is the same letters as the word Ma'od. Ma'od means a lot, means expansion. That means that people by nature are expanding. Like the natural state of being, of a human being, is expansion. And if I'm not expanding, so that means I'm a little bit dead. Being alive is, it's interesting. Like there's an expanding universe. Everything is growing. To be in touch with reality is to be expanding, and so growth is really a necessary part of being alive. That's why it says that a person is not growing. A person is not expanding. So then there's no reason for them to be here. He brings the pasuk from Moshe Rabbeinu that it says at the end of the Torah. The Moshe Rabbeinu says that Lo uchal od latzeit v'lavo, that I'm ready to die because I can't come and go. Okay, so what's it mean I can't come and go? It means that I'm static. It means like I've reached my last level, and so like I've nothing to live for. Ibn Nachman would say that if I'm going to serve Hashem today the same way that I served Him yesterday, so I'm not interested. Like I'd rather not wake up. I'd rather not wake up today. If my life today is just going to be a repeat of yesterday, so I'm just not interested. I don't need that. Like Hashem doesn't need that. I don't need that. Just like let's just save time. Yeah, it's like if that's what today is meant to be, so then like I'm not interested. There's a crazy story with the Kotzker Rebbe. The Kotzker Rebbe had a son-in-law who's very famous, Talmid Chacham. His name he was called the Avnei Nezer, the Bavami Sakhachev. So one time the Sakhachev was very sick, and so they went into the Kotzker Rebbe, and it was at the end of his life. The Kotzker Rebbe, he was a very interesting character. At the end of his life, he secluded himself. He wouldn't talk to anybody. I think like 12 or 14 years that he was like he didn't talk to anybody, and the only people he talked to was I think the Avnei Nezer, maybe like one other person. It was like a very, very interesting situation, and so the Sakhachev was very sick, and so some of the students went to the Kotzker Rebbe and they told him, your son-in-law is very like you need to daven for him, and he made some motion and they were shocked you love him, you care about him, like he's like and they said they didn't like what to tell him, how to convince him, like why do we need to convince him that he should daven for his own son-in-law? And he said, but Rebbe, but like he's such a Talmid Chacham, you're not going to daven for him. So the Kotzker Rebbe said, you call that Talmid Chacham? You call that you really think that my son-in-law is Talmid Chacham? Sorry, and like they're going crazy. What in the world is going on? Like why? Of all times, like this is the time you're speaking lashon hara about your. So they said, okay, but he's such a tzaddik. It's tzaddik. That's not called tzaddik. And they were just like just bewildered. Like why in the world would the Kotzker Rebbe be putting his son-in-law down at this dire moment that he's in horrible danger? So a couple of days later, the Avnei Nezer got better. And when he got better, so he asked the students, tell me something. When I was sick, did you tell my father-in-law? And they said, of course we told you. And they said, no. Tell me, what did you say? He said, it doesn't matter. We talked to him. It was good. And I said, no. You didn't tell me what he said. I said, Rabbi, I don't know. This is the weirdest thing in the world. He must have been having some kind of episode, or I have no explanation. Of what was going on, but this is what we told him. This is what he said back. I don't know, but I promise you, he really does love you. He told us a million times he loves you. Please don't be upset with him. Please don't. And so he said, you have no idea. My father-in-law saved my life. My father-in-law saved my life. That I know that I was in the other world, and it was decreed upon me that my time had come. Why had my time come? Because I'd reached the level that I was destined to reach, and there was no more growing. There was no more mission for me. I was supposed to reach a certain level of righteousness, of becoming, of fixing, whatever. I did it, and so So they were decreeing me that it's like time to leave. And then my father-in-law came and he said that no, that's not Kol Tamil Chacham. He's not really a tzaddik. He has more levels to still achieve. And my father-in-law saw in me the potential for deeper growth, and by doing so he actually enabled me to be able to justify my existence, to have a reason to still be around. Okay? Because really, that if there's no room to grow, so then there's no reason for us to be here. So this is really being in a state of growth is actually critical in really being.
Is he justifying it to God?
To the heavenly God, yeah, sure.
How does that work? Okay.
Yeah.
Talks to God.
His voice gets to God. You also talk to God. We all talk to God. But the difference is that like Hashem listened to him much more seriously than he listens to us. But so this is like a critical thing of just being alive. Is the reason why we're here is to achieve something. So if we're not growing, so then there's really no reason for us to be here. And this is really it's coming from the emotion of love, and love requires expansion. Now this is something like to check ourselves, that there's this thought of complacency. There's this thought of like I made it. This thought of plateauing. This thought of like I'm good. Like I worked hard for a good amount of time, and now I'm good. Now I made it, and so like the Tzadok is saying that this is like there's no such thing as making it. That as long as we're breathing, so we haven't made it. And it's something to remind ourselves that this is not like we shouldn't. If we're ever feeling in a place of complacency, then like we're in a bad place. Chaim Shmulevitz, Zichrono Livracha, used to say that there's nothing that he can stand less than what he called a tzufridner. Tzufridner is what he called the person who's just like tzufridden with himself. He's just like happy with himself. He's just like I'm good. You know, I always make fun of like the American expression, like I'm good. Like I'm good. Like I
coasting.
I'm just what?
Like coasting.
Yeah. I'm like I don't think there's anything that I should be doing. I'm the kind of person that like before Yom Kippur I say like I don't think anything wrong. I don't think, and like I'm good. Like I'm pretty sure that God looks down at me and says, keep it up. You know? And so like that's the worst possible. That's the most dangerous state of mind that we could possibly be in. So
wait, God shouldn't be like we shouldn't think God is thinking we're doing well.
If we think that God looks at us and he thinks that we're doing well, so then we should know that we're in the worst possible state of mind possible.
So we should think God thinks we're doing bad.
We should think.
I feel like I have like an argument with that. Like I hear you, and simultaneously, like maybe we're needing.
How about
needing to like affirmation and love, and to have that, and when you're ready, a little touch.
I would agree with you even without the patch. I think that the thing is not when I say you're good. What I don't mean that we shouldn't think that Hashem is saying that you're doing good. That we should think that Hashem is looking down on us and he's saying you're doing amazing. Keep it up. That as opposed to a person that says that you're good. That's exactly what I was hoping that you would reach in your life. You've made it. That the feeling I've made it, that's a treif state of mind. That's like that we should a healthy person is constantly feeling that I'm in a state of growth and I'm appreciating how far I've come, appreciating that I've worked hard and I'm awesome in the fact that I've come this far, and even if I don't think I've come so far, just because I survived, that means that I've come so far. In fact, I haven't given up yet, and I should just keep it up.
Keep up means continue, no?
Continue, yeah. Keep up the good work.
Like yes, continue what you're doing, or continue doing more.
Continue in your journey. Continue in your journey. Don't think for a second that I've plateaued. Don't think for a second that this is the last version of me. Mm-hmm. I still have a lot to improve. You haven't seen nothing yet. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna get so awesome that you won't even recognize me.
So if like your kid gets an A in school, will you be like, oh, get an A+?
No,
like
no.
that's how.
Okay, so we're going to get to that actually. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So a couple of things. The Rabbi Nachman talks about this in a couple of places. The first thing where he talks about it is that there's levels that are called emet, and there's levels which are called emunah. Okay, so emunah is things that we can't really grasp, we can't really put our hands on, because it's something that we're not really there. It's something that we aspire to. It's something that like I see something that I admire, I see something that I appreciate, and I say, wow, like I would like to be like that. Okay? And that's called emunah. Okay, it's something that I believe that I could reach that. Okay, that's why when we find role models, like it's critical to find role models that like we think that like I would like to be that. I want to emulate that person. That's a real role. Like don't. It's like it's not so impressive to have a role model that like my Rebbe is Moshe Rabbeinu. Like my Rebbe is Rabbi Nachman. Like people love to pick dead role models because it's very it doesn't obligate them too much, because like nobody's gonna call them out. Like there's like look, I'm on the way. Like how am I supposed to reach Rabbi Nachman? Yeah. So I once met a person like this. Like who was like that is like do you have a rabbi? Like yes, my rabbi is the Baal Shem Tov. My rabbi is and basically that's his way of saying that I do whatever I want, and that's perfect. Yeah. And so to find something that like, wow, I wish I could be that. That's to be a dreamer, to be a person that has aspirations, to be a person that is going towards a goal. So that's such a basic thing, and that's called emunah. Then emes is that to reach a level of understanding, to say that like this is how I understand. So he says that our task in life is to turn the emunah into emes, meaning that to see this thing in the horizon, to see this level, this consciousness, this behavior, whatever it is, to say that like to have something in the horizon, and then to work on trying to get there, which is hard work, which involves like talking to people, and how did you get there? Like what does it take? And to have this inner search and try to figure out like what does it actually take to like how did you become so happy? How did you become so peaceful? How did you become, and whatever it is that we appreciate in somebody, it's just like to work on it, not to just accept that okay, that's them and this is me, but rather that like if you did it, I can do it. And so like, I want to get there. I want to be that. And so to work, and that's turning the emunah into emet. And so Rabbi Nachman says that beautiful thing, that at the moment that we turn the emunah into emet, so at that moment, so then there's a brand new emunah that appears in the horizon. That it's really an endless cycle. That there is no such thing as plateauing, because the higher you get, the more you understand that the goal is actually unreachable. And this is something that could be very, very exhausting. It could put us down. Like, are you telling me I'm never going to make it? And Rabbi Nachman has this game changer, and he says that you have to rewire your brain. Life is not about making it. That's not the name of the game. Life is not about making it. Life is about trying. Life is about working. Life is about the journey. Okay? This is Lech Lecha. Lech Lecha is that we're on this journey, and our life is about constantly being on a journey. And so, we're never going to get there. That is the beauty. We're on the path to Eretz Yisrael. And this is what I am. I'm on a journey. And so, the happiness of this life is not the happiness of achievement. It's the happiness of being on the journey. And don't worry. There is the happiness of achievement. Is after we die. Then we have plenty of time. We have all eternity to have the happiness of achievement. And that's why we have Shabbat, which Shabbat is Me'ein Olam Haba. Shabbat is a taste of the world to come. So the truth is that between this contrast between the Shema and V'ahavta, between the walking and staying put, so we have Shabbat and the 6 days of the week. That 6 days a week is for the constant movement, for the constant growth, for the constant moving forward. And then we have Shabbat is to take a rest, is to like a stop. So like somebody once referred to it as like mamish like a dance. Like it's like you're just like it's like in a dance. You there's a certain dance that they do at weddings. That it's like you do 4 steps and then you stop and then you do a little jiggle and then what? What's it? And so so like that's mamish like that. It's like Shabbos is a rhythm. Shabbos is a certain. You have to get into the rhythm of like the rhythm of life is that do 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 and like the seventh is like there's no deed, like it's just, and without that stop then there's no rhythm. And so like to get into the rhythm of life is to appreciate that there's this stops. So if you have a stop but there's no do afterwards, so then it's not a stop, then it's a death. so that's why the Shabbos and the weekday is really getting into this rhythm of growth. Now Rabbi Nachman has another thing, and this is relevant to it, a very interesting reality, that sometimes a person feels like that they've been working on something, and then out of nowhere they feel like they fall back like 100 miles, and they get depressed with themselves, and they say like, I did this already. I was so close, and how could it be? Like Hashem's like throwing me away. And so he says a very interesting thing, that sometimes, so the reason why we feel like we're actually falling behind is actually because we moved forward. And he says this very interesting thing, that according to Kabbalah, so there's different worlds of spirituality. And so sometimes, so what happens is that you get to the highest level of a lower world, and you graduate. And after you were the all-star of the little leagues, so then you graduate into the big leagues, and then you're nobody, right? So and you feel like, what the heck? Like I graduated. If I graduated, like I should be in a higher. I should be like, now people should be even more proud of me. Like, and now suddenly people look at me like I'm nothing. But the answer is obvious. They're like, because in your lower existence, so then you're actually something special. But now you're in a higher existence, so now you're actually nothing special. So now you have to keep on working. You have to get back your reputation. You have to get back your ma'amad, your status, because you actually grew. So sometimes a person can feel like their experience is that I'm actually further away from the feeling of closeness, because the reason why I'm feeling distant is actually because I grew. It's actually because I went to a higher state of existence. And in this now it's a new battle. I have to start from scratch with this new. And it's not that I'm just going through the motions again, but actually because I'm starting a new war. And at the end of this, I'm going to be something. Wow! I'm going to be at like the height of a new level. So this is like a state of mind. This is a state of mind that Rabbi Nachman was very into. He has the story called the 7 Beggars, where he refers to this thing called the great eagle. And the great eagle comes and he tells them that I'm very old, but yet I have only now begun my life. And so Rabbi Nachman, after he told the story, so he told the student that like he was actually referring to himself when he talked about this great eagle that's very old but has only now begun his life. So he's referring to himself. There's some of the commentators say that there's a pasuk that says that Chadish kanesha ne'uraychi, that to renew your youth like a nesher. And so like there's in secular culture there's this myth of a phoenix, that like every 70 years or something that it sheds its feathers and regrows or something. Or it turns into ashes and regrows, or I don't remember exactly.
It's like a mythology that the phoenix burned and then rose from the ashes.
Okay, there you go. So that's what's being referred to in this pasuk. And this great eagle, so he's constantly renewing. Okay, and so Rav Nachman says in a different place that really it's not just this is not just his own idea, that this is actually the wisdom of Shlomo HaMelech. Because in the book of Kohelet, so Shlomo Melech, so he contrasts between the good intention and the bad intention, the Yetzer Tov and the Yetzer Hara. And So he refers to three different things, three different contrasts between the Yetzer Tov and the Yetzer Hara. That one is he calls the Yetzer Tov Yeled Misken V'Chacham. That a wise, young pauper. And that's the Yetzer Tov. The Yetzer Hara is Melech Zaken Eksil. That he's a king who is old and foolish. Okay, so it's three different contrasts between the Yetzer Tov and the Yetzer Hara. One is the most simple, is the last one, that the Yetzer Tov wants you to be wise, and the Yetzer Hara wants you to be foolish. Okay, that's pretty self-evident. But then he has that the Yetzer Tov wants you to feel like a pauper, and the Yetzer Hara wants you to feel like a king. And so he explains that we need Hashem, and a person who's in touch with reality understands that I'm a needy person. Like I can't manage myself, and the Yetzer Hara wants me to feel like I don't need anybody. And this is what brings me to separate from God, because I think I don't need help. I don't need help. I can manage myself. I don't need anything. And so this feeling of being all able is the thing that takes me away from God. The third and most important thing is that the Yetzer Hara wants you to feel old, and the Yetzer Tov wants you to feel young. Okay, meaning that the Yetzer Hara is always telling us, you're too old to learn new tricks. This is just the way you are. Okay? A child never feels like this is just the way I am. He never feels like this. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be sucking lollipops for the rest of my life. Like, this is like, I'm not gonna just be playing with my cars for the rest of my, well, the cars just grow. But like there's like the things that I'm not gonna be pulling my sister's hair for the rest of my life. And like you realize that I'm just a kid. I'm just a kid. Let me be, because I'm just a kid, right? A kid realizes that like this is that like, and it's really it's tragic when kids are forced to be adults and then to lose their childhood. A kid knows that I have the world ahead of me. That feeling of the sky's the limit. That feeling that I can go to any school I want. I can go to any country I want. I can do anything. I can do that's the feeling of a child, right? The more that we become quote unquote adults, so the world tells us, okay, like this is the way it is. Like enough with that myth that you can do anything. No, that I'm still a child. I still have that feeling that I can save the world. I still have the feeling that I can do anything. I can start again. I can go to new school. I can go to get a new job. I can change my career, and I can be successful in a new career, and I can revamp everything. And it's the Yetzer Hara always wants us to feel that this is that I'm finished. Like, this is my finished product. This is my last update. And the Yetzer Tov wants us to constantly feel that I have not yet begun my life. I haven't started yet. Like, everything I've done until now is nothing. Like, tomorrow, I'm moving to a different country, starting a new career. I'm changing my personality, all for the better. I mean, except for the country, it's no better country. But like everything, I'm revamping everything, and like every day, I want to become a new and improved me in every area of life, and nobody's going to tell me that no, that's just the way we know you. We have heard this before, and the definition of being in touch with the Yetzer Tov is that the sky's the limit. I have nothing. Nobody's is gonna put me into a box. Nobody's gonna put and to say that this is who I am. That like I'm starting again. So this is really this what these two different motions of life is about moving forward, and it's about stopping, like this dance, and so this is really all this is that Hashem is teaching us about this through Avraham, because Avraham is the father of love. Okay, and if you love somebody, then you never stop. Okay, there's no such thing as like I love you, and so let's just like leave it at that. And that's why that the Rambam writes that there's a difference in Tanakh. Like, now we use the word chassid very loosely. Like to be a chassid means that you have curly payas, right? But really in Tanakh, so there's a difference between tzaddik and chassid. Okay, what's the difference between tzaddik and chassid? That tzaddik comes from the word tzedek. Tzedek means justice. Okay, what's justice? Justice is you follow the rules. Okay, you're going against the justice if you, like a court of justice is to take care of people who don't follow the rules. So to be a tzaddik is you follow the rules. But chassid comes from the word chesed. Chesed means kindness. Okay, what does it mean kindness? The kindness is that to give somebody what they deserve. If I borrow 50 shekel from you and I give you back 50 shekel, I didn't do a kindness, right? That if I borrowed 50 shekel and like I give you back your 50 shekel and I tell you that like you shouldn't really do this because it's a shadow of like giving interest, but I like here's your 50 shekel and whenever you're in town, so please I want to host you and whatever, like to give above and beyond what I owe you. Like there's no like I just have just so much appreciation. There was a tzaddik and he lived in Bnei Brak, that there was somebody that helped him out in his yeshiva that when he was 30 years old, and it was a one-time thing that he helped out the yeshiva, and for the next 50 years, every yontiv, so he would be in Yerushalayim, and he came to pay a visit to this person out of appreciation for the help that he had given him 50 years earlier. Okay, that's love. That's chesed. That's from the word chasid, and so that's what the Gemara says that when David Melech says that he's a chesed, so it doesn't mean that he wears a gartel. It means that he does what's called lifnim mishurat hadin. Okay, to do more than what's necessary by law. Okay, meaning that Hashem says that you have to do like whatever, you have to do some minimal amount of, and he goes above and beyond that, right? So whatever it is that Hashem says that you have to give this much amount of tzedakah, and I'm saying, and I just like I give without thinking. I just like, and the person Hashem says that you have to like do this kind of I don't know, drink this much on Purim, and so that whatever it is, lifting Mishras Yadin is that at the moment that I hear some kind of hint that this is like that Hashem, that this is like you like this, so like I go all the way, because like I want him to know that I care, okay? That like if my wife mentions that she likes violets, so then the next day she's going to wake up to 120 violets. Okay, I'm overflowing with like I just want you to be happy, and so like to just listen to what you're telling me is not an act of love, okay, and that's why there's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing that the things in Judaism that where we actually are expressing our love to God, so those are the things that it actually doesn't say it in the Torah. Okay, first of all, that davening is the most basic expression of love. There's a beautiful idea that in a ksuba, so when a couple gets married, so ksuba is the monetary document that the husband is obligating himself to his wife. So I once heard a question that it doesn't say anywhere in the ksuba that the husband has to talk to his wife. So what's up with that? Like does the Torah not believe that you have to talk to your wife? Like you have
She
to.
does all the talking.
So I once heard Rapinka says that the communication between a husband and wife. So that is the relationship. That's the essence of the relationship. That the ksuba is the contract on the relationship. Once you have a relationship, okay, this is going to be the contract that the laws that once we have a relationship, now these are going to be the rules. But if you don't have a relationship, then there's no room for ksuba. So if you don't have communication, so why are you making a ksuba? So the ksuba is the document of the t'naim, of the conditions of the relationship, and the communication is the relationship. So coming back, so then there's a question, like when it comes to davening, so davening is the communication that we have with God. So because the communication is our relationship with God, so that our whole connection, our whole expression of how much we love Him, it's in the fact that we talk to Him. So how could it be such a critical thing? Isn't in the Torah? The davening is only the Rabbanan. It's only a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah for the rabbis. That the Torah does not obligate a person to daven. It's all rabbinic. So how could it be? How could it be that the essence of our relationship is not there? The answer is because it's the essence of the relationship. That's why it can't be there. It can't be, because if Hashem tells us you must talk to me, and when I'm coming to talk to Him, He says, okay, sure, I'm talking to you. Then there's no love in that. And if there's no love, then there is no relationship. So that's why the only way for us to have a loving relationship with God is only if we're talking to Him without being told. Okay, so that's why it doesn't. And the same is even true.
We're still being told though.
We're being told by the rabbis that the rabbis are telling us. When the rabbis tell us something, what it means is that they're insightful to help us understand what, if we would have thought about it more, we would have realized ourselves.
Okay.
Like the rabbis are like your best friend that happens to know that your wife actually likes violets, and so he says, by the way, and so they're telling us what God really likes, and they said, guess what I bought you, and that's but the point is that He can't command us because it needs to come from us.
But isn't saying the Shema the right time?
No.
Oh, it's not?
The first pasuk of Shema is, but Shema is not talking to God. Shema is talking to ourselves.
Okay.
Okay, and the communication. What?
What's the mitzvah
Of what? Oh, that it means all service of God. It means doing the mitzvahs. That all the Rishonim say that Rashi means midrabanan. It doesn't mean that it's actually the Torah is commanding you to daven.
What is that commandment if not davening?
Oh, what's it mean? What's it mean besides davening? To serve God with your heart is that when you're taking a lulav, you should take lulav with all your heart. When you're giving tzedakah, you should give tzedakah with all your heart. When you're helping your parents, you should help your parents with all your heart. You should, all the ways of serving God.
That's
you should do it there.
Deraita.
What?
What you just said.
The
Like
right time.
all your heart.
All
just-
to do it with your heart is in the Torah, right?
Okay,
But to speak, to daven
Yeah.
is only the Rabbanan.
The right is the first line of Shema.
Right.
It's the focus though, right? Whether it includes the other parts of Shema.
Yes, but I think most people
Shouldn't that also be given to do it with your heart?
should be given. Okay, so maybe.
So
it's
how is that different? I guess.
What? How is what
In
different
a
from
way,
what?
like you're saying, like you gave an example, like talking to God is like it's not commanded in the Torah because
Right.
God shouldn't force you to talk to Him. It should be like a given. Oh,
Right.
you should talk to God. Shouldn't that be the same of doing things for God with all your heart?
I don't
Like
know.
if you're gonna give your wife violets, you're doing it because you love your wife, not because I have to give her
because
violets.
He's commanding us, so that's why it's necessary to tell us that our heart needs to be involved as well. It's a good point. And the other thing is learning Torah. But learning Torah is also something which is considered an act of love. It says that Hashem loves us, and that's why He gives us Torah. That we say Avos Elam Avtanu Torah Mitzvah Chok Mishpat V'Som Limata. That because you love us so much, that's why He gave us the Torah. And so when we're learning Torah, so that's our expression of our connection, expression of the fact that we love Him, and that's why even learning Torah is also not clear in the Torah, even though the learning Torah is a mitzvah d'oraisa, but it actually never says that you should learn Torah. It says that you should teach your children Torah. So the Gemara says, well, you have to teach your children Torah, so then of course you have to teach yourself Torah. But really, the Hashem didn't want to speak out, you must learn Torah, because He's speaking out that you must do something. So then when you're doing it, so it's not an act of love. It's not an act of love. So the essence of love is what I'm not commanded. And so this Parshat Lech Lecha of going in the ways of Avraham really knew how to love Hashem. And the definition of loving Hashem is to do what I wasn't asked to do, like to show up myself, to show up how I want. So a person is gonna just follow every rule. So then he's gonna die. He's gonna be dying. He's gonna think that he's the A++. And the truth is that Hashem says, like, you just follow the rules. That's it. Where were you? Like I didn't see any of you. You were just stopping your whole life. I wanted to see you moving. I wanted to see you going. I wanted to see your soul. I wanted to see your participation in this relationship. And you missed the boat. You missed the boat. And so So this parsha is challenging us to ask ourselves, like, how am I moving in this relationship? What am I doing for this relationship? How am I showing the fact that I love Hashem? And this is really the beauty and the joy of growth. And the truth is that I want to end off with a interesting story that I read this book called Halev Mayam. It was written by a Breslov Baal Tshuva named Erev Moshe Doron, and he had this long email correspondence with this boy that he was having a problem, that he became religious, and he started becoming more religious and more religious and more religious until he became super religious, became Haredi, and then he sort of felt like something's missing, and he didn't understand what was missing, because there's nothing else to do. What am I supposed to do? Wear a bigger kippah, we're have longer payas. There's no more stringency that I didn't take. So how could I be thirsty for more? Until now I thought that the reason I'm thirsty is because I didn't get the truth yet. But now all my rabbis are telling me that yeah, you got the truth, you're there. So what's now? Is this now? Am I have this inner calling for something outside of Judaism? So he was very troubled by this. So he wrote to this rabbi, and the rabbi answered him that it's like I read your letter, and I was mamish in tears, because it's so tragic. It's so tragic that people are telling you that you've made it, and that you don't know what the most basic thing about Judaism is, about what life is. That this feeling that you've made it is something which is not part of our lexicon, and so what you really need is to meet Rabbi Nachman of Breslov, and you need to understand that the thing that we're striving for is something which is by nature unattainable, and that's what's so beautiful about it. Okay, and so you're in this culture where they tell you that we've got it, and I forgot who said that anybody who tells you that I've got the truth, so run away from him. The truth is something which is by nature unattainable. So if somebody says I'm trying to figure it out, I'm on the way, we can make this journey together. So that's what we're looking for. A person who says I'm there, I have the truth, I'm looking down at you, so that he's off. I mean, that means he's serving the wrong God. And this is the beauty of Chassidus. This is the beauty of understanding that life is really an endless journey of reaching higher and higher. And so I bless us all that we should be able to find this infinite light to show us the path, and something to guide us, and we should find this thing that is so awesome that the higher we get, the more we realize that how far we actually are, and not only that, but to revel in that, and to really appreciate the fact that we're so fortunate that our journey is so true and so infinite, that just to every baby step is something to celebrate, because we're on the way to something infinite. L'chaim.
L'chaim.